it's true. Like, what would be like your main message to the youths out there of Birmingham? Okay, not only Birmingham, the UK. What would be your message to motivate them, you know, to get to where they need to be? You know, they look at people like you, obviously they're inspired, but not a lot of them know the route to go. That's why they're stuck.
And it depends what where they need to be is. You know, if we're watching loads of MTV and everybody wants to be the next Jay-Z or the next Rick Ross, the odds are not very good, you know. There's one Jay-Z, there's 1 million black men in jail in America. Right, over 1 million now. There's another 500,000 being killed, you know, over the last 30 years, roughly, and there's another 20 million living in the ghetto. I don't want to depress people, but the odds of you being the next Jay-Z or Oprah Winfrey are not too strong. Not that it's just about black kids, because there's kids of all colours and creeds suffering. What I'm saying is that, to me, I feel like artists for a little while, I feel like the MTV culture is selling us a dream that doesn't really exist. A tiny percentage of the people in the world live that way. And rather than sell us, like, you look at reggae music, for example. Bob Marley was rich, you know? People don't realise this. You know? He made proper money back then, like real. What did he do with his money though? He opened his yard in Kingston to the whole of Jamaica. Everyone knows that. The whole country, because he's a man from the ghetto, real ghetto, not English ghetto. I'm not saying there's no, problems here. There is, but I'm saying we're talking about Trenchtown. Right? He buys a big yard on Uptown. And what does he say? He says, "Everybody come now." He doesn't say, right, now I'm better than all you ghetto Negroes.
I'll see you later.
Look, I got my BMW and I got my big money and I got my flashy manager. Forget Jamaica, that's me. You see it? And so to me, that example is the example that I look at. Not saying I'm ever going to be as successful as Bob Marley, because I don't think I will be. What I'm saying is that I look at people like him and I think, you can have all the money in the world, you know, but you don't have to go on like say you're better than your community or distance yourself from your community. Because then, also, it gives dignity to the people in the community. I feel like materialism is part of the big problem. We feel like if we ain't got, and it's easy for me to speak, obviously, when I was young and I didn't have, I felt the same frustration. Now I have a nice car, I live in a nice house, it's easy for me to say. Not that I didn't live in a nice house before, my house was alright, you know? But what I'm saying is like, the competitive thing of, and I see this again amongst kids of all colours, but particularly young black kids, and I think there's a reason for that. The lack of knowledge of self, the particular racism and classism, whereas for young working class white kids it's classism, right? But it's not the classism and the racism. And for Asian kids it's a different situation, because Asian kids are coming still with their language intact, right? For example, and the culture a bit more intact. So I think there's a specific set of circumstances that affect Caribbean kids particularly. Then African kids sort of next, but not quite the same, because obviously if you're Yoruba or Hausa or Mandinka, you still have a bit more of your culture intact. So it takes 2-3 generations for that to wear away. But the materialism I see, I'll be going workshops in the hood, and every youth's got £100 trainers on, and none of their parents bust their ass to get them youths them £100 trainers, but then you ain't got no lunch money. You know, I see little things like, and so there's a certain amount of materialism that I feel like a lot of rappers are participating in, that is very unhealthy. Because really, if we were learning to buy, and this is in a roundabout way, I know we're talking about message, but if it was a message to young people, if there's one thing you can unplug yourself from, it would be the materialism. Because materialism, it's cool to have nice things, I'm not knocking that, you know, I have some nice things, but you have to buy assets. Read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, very simple breakdown.
Say that again?
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Right.
It's a very simple breakdown of the way economics works.
Mm-hmm.
If you buy liabilities, you will go broke no matter how much money you start with. So if you buy things that depreciate in value over a period of time, cars other than vintage cars, jewelry, you know, trainers, all these kind of things that we're encouraged to participate in, loving, you'll go broke. If you buy assets, things that generate money, that gain value over time, property, gold, etc., right? Or even books are assets, because you're investing in your brain, which is becoming a tool of qualification, right? So I would say to young people, changing your habits. You can get nice things, but it's the order in which you do it and learning those kind of economic behaviors and being realistic. Like, that doesn't mean I'm saying don't dream. If your dream is to make music, great, but I feel like there's this unhealthy environment where everyone wants to be a rapper, or everyone feels like we've got to be entertainers. We're brilliant, beautiful, intelligent people. We need to study our history and realise, hold on a minute, you know, if we're looking at what our ancestors did, for example, everyone in the Mandingo Empire couldn't be a griot. You needed a scientist, you needed mathematicians, you needed architects, you needed man to build the unit. And that's part of the problem. Everyone wants to make music, and that's going to mess up the community. That's not, I love music, but I'm just saying, my message to young people would actually be, you know what, turn off the TV and read a book. And that will change who you are.
It's so true. There's like so much to learn. It's like, I'm not even gonna lie, it's only when I went to uni that I started reading books because I needed to, and it's amazing how much those books can educate you and how much you can learn from those words in those books.
But we don't realise the extent to which even studying, if you're doing the right study, will naturally, you'll create opportunities for yourself. Yeah. Because you learn a certain amount, and because it's such a tiny, imagine, right, you go gym, you're a man that goes gym, right? And in the gym, enough men go gym, they do bench press. Yeah. They don't like to squat. That's why they got some weak legs and some big top, right? But if you're a man, this is the truth, Enough men go gym, they tom weights.
It's true,
they get hench top.
You see these hench guys, yeah, and they got some skinny legs.
Yeah. But the analogy is this, right?
Yeah.
If you're the one man in the gym that squats and deadlifts, but you do your bench as well, you know, but you stay that extra hour in the gym and you squat and deadlift, when you get thumped in your chin, you got your legs, your foundation is going to keep you standing, right? Yeah. So you got the edge over your opponents. Well, studying is just like that. Most people in the world don't read.